You're listening to the Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology Podcast. If you've been listening to the show for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about NPCs, non-player characters, and how important they can be to developing a really great story. But what exactly are some ideas for really creative NPCs? That's what we're going to dive into today. I'm Robert Walker, author of Session Zero, the DMG to writing great campaigns in any system. And this is my show where I teach collaborative storytellers how to have more immersive campaigns using psychology. And on today's episode, we're going to be discussing, and I'm going to give you 5 ideas for really unique NPCs that you can just borrow and use in your next campaign. And then later on in Tricks of the Trade, I'm going to give you some pointers for a DM who wants to create their own unique NPCs that they can use to create any number of NPCs to put into their campaign. I do want to give a quick shout out before we get going to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. And if you'd like to become an official cyclithid, please find our link either on Instagram or on our website to our Patreon and join the ranks of the official cyclithids to support this show. Now let's get right into it and talk about these 5 unique NPCs for you to steal. The first one is a living spellbook. This NPC will take the form of an ancient tome with pages filled with magical knowledge. The tome can assist players by providing spells and secrets, even advice. However, there's a mischievous personality in this tome, and it might demand some unusual or costly favors in return, perhaps burning a very unique and rare incense or something like that. I like to think of this as sort of when Harry Potter is communicating with Tom Riddle by writing in the diary. I think that would be a really unique way to have the NPC. The book is intelligent and it can respond when it is written into and spoken to in that manner, and then its responses will be generated in text in that same sort of fashion. The next idea is a time-swapped adventurer. This NPC is a legendary hero from a prior era. They were accidentally transported into the present through some fantastic mishap of magic, perhaps. They're still dressed in outdated armor and wielding archaic weapons, but they possess incredible skills and they have an immense knowledge of history because for them it is the present, and they can offer guidance and aid to the players, but a quirk of theirs, they could struggle to adapt to the modern world in which they find themselves in. Next, we have the enigmatic watchmaker. This NPC would be a reclusive master craftsman who specializes in creating intricate timepieces. They would possess a unique ability to manipulate time to a very minor degree, and their creations could unravel some temporal mysteries that you might throw into your game. The Watchmaker can offer the players time-related quests and provide valuable artifacts or information. I kind of like the idea maybe of not even letting them manipulate time, but in certain areas that the watches might be tied to, they can sort of rewind time and witness events as they unfolded in that place. So you could build riddles based on what happened in a location previously. I sort of ran that in one of my recent campaigns where the party found themselves in a dungeon where the clues were visions of the past in order to figure out how to solve puzzles and advance the dungeon forward. Next, we have the shape-shifting bard. It's an NPC who is a master of illusions and a skilled musician. They have a rare ability to change their appearance at will, assuming different forms and personas. So this could be like a bard druid multi-class, the druid with the 1,000 faces class feature. They could assist the players by infiltrating dangerous locations, gathering information, or providing magical performances that could inspire and empower the party. And you could think of some unique ways in which they might need somebody who can quickly shift between personas or between creatures in order to pull off a heist or break into a location or sneak out even would be a lot of fun. And the last of these 5 NPC ideas is the eccentric gourmet chef. And I sort of take this one because in my day-to-day life, I am an executive chef. So this one is kind of close to home. But this NPC is a renowned culinary genius who travels the world in search of exotic ingredients. They provide the players with excellent meals that can grant temporary bonuses or unique abilities. They've even perfected recipes that the players can purchase to enhance certain abilities. So like perhaps increase one of their saving throws or one of their skill checks, for example. But the quests for this gourmet chef would often involve retrieving rare and dangerous ingredients from fantastical creatures or very perilous locations. An herb that only grows on the side of a cliff, at least 500 feet in the air or something like that. And the party would have to do a skill challenge or something to climb up and gather the herb, or defeat a creature that has a, particular cut of meat that is exclusive to a specific dish. So those are your ideas for NPCs. And let's go ahead and head over to Tricks of the Trade. For tricks today, I want to give you 3 pointers for DMs who want to create their own unique NPCs to put into their campaigns. First and foremost, embrace quirks and flaws. Give your NPCs very distinct quirks and flaws and idiosyncrasies that make them memorable and make them stand out. It could be a peculiar accent or an unusual hobby or a distinctive physical feature or even an unconventional personality trait. These quirks not only make the NPCs more interesting, but they provide hooks for role-playing, and interactions with the players become unique, and that it makes the NPC feel like an individual rather than just, another human that they're talking to or another elf that they're talking to or whatever the case may be. And you have all this opportunity for plot development when your NPCs have quirks and flaws. And next, I want you to consider motivations and goals. NPCs are way more engaging when they have clear motivations that drive their actions. So you want to think about what drives each NPC in your game world, whether it's power or revenge, whether they have a love that they're trying to get requited or a secret agenda. But by understanding and writing their motivations, you can create more compelling storylines and much more dynamic interactions with your players. And finally, create meaningful relationships for your NPCs. They gain depth when they have meaningful relationships with other characters in the game world. And this can include friendships, rivalries, family ties, or even hidden connections to major factions or organizations. But developing these relationships fleshes out their backstory. It provides opportunities for the players to engage with them on a deeper level. And you can even include the player characters in these meaningful relationships. I always say it's really good for your players to start your game with not only some sort of connection to each other, but 1 or 2 connections to the game world. And usually that can take place in the form of an NPC. So when your character is writing their backstories, it's an excellent time for you to create a unique NPC and have them build a meaningful relationship with 1 or more of the players who are starting the game. Just remember, when you're creating NPCs, it's an opportunity to inject your own creativity and your own imagination into the campaign. Always have fun with it, and don't be afraid to take risks and think outside the box. Some of the most exciting and interesting NPCs that you will ever remember are the ones that are like absurdly quirky and just sort of off the wall. If you're making everybody laugh and have a good time and have fun, you're sparking engagement and immersion in your world. Even if it's just a little silly, like we are naturally drawn to something that's a little bit absurd because it is unique and flavorful and fun. So that is it for today. A little bit shorter episode because I am traveling, but thank you so much for joining in. As I mentioned before, please jump on Patreon and become an official cyclithid if you would like. If you do anything at all, though, please give us a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps us so much to grow this show and reach a wider audience. And always, cyclithids, I appreciate you listening and all your support, and we will see you next session.